Octopus Alchemy is, I'd call it a social venture that aims to reconnect people with traditional food knowledge, traditional techniques of food preparation. I teach workshops around fermentation with a dash of food politics. It's about food in the practical sense, but it's about food in the political sense as well. I'm essentially teaching people ways of relating to their food and ways of preparing food, which is not just nourishing in the biological sense, if you will, but which also carries an important message about how we're currently alienated and detached from food too. People should ferment really simply because it's fun, because you create a food product through fermentation which is vibrant, living and profoundly nourishing. And also because practicing fermentation makes you less reliant on a system that is just bent on profit, which is bent on selling you denatured food, denatured products, that is not just having an impact on us as individuals, not just having an impact on our communities, but a really insidious impact on the environment and ecology at large. It really challenges the mainstream ideas around what health involves or why illness occurs, and for individuals to possess that knowledge and to get in touch with that knowledge is a very powerful thing. There are an array of health benefits of fermented foods, really. The main one being is that they really enhance your digestion overall. So your metabolism is greatly improved by eating fermented foods. Away from digestion, obviously fermented foods, particularly the ecology of bacteria that are in fermented foods, promote all sorts of healing effects within the body, whether that's just relating to digestion or indeed impacting on cognitive disorders like depression, anxiety and so on. There's been a real explosion of interest in fermented foods, and I think that really does complement this awakening and an elevated consciousness around what good food means and what good food is. The workshops usually start out with a bit of a talk, usually me ranting on for a little while about the history of fermentation, and maybe some politics as well around why fermentation isn't so popular anymore in the West in terms of a practice that we own and enjoy in our own kitchens. And then we usually move on to a bit of a practical where we might explore a range of different ferments with the aim and intent really of just equipping people with some pragmatic kind of skills and tools that they can deploy in their own kitchens.
Just slicing up some cabbage.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's turnips which we've finely sliced, and it's going to be a fermented sliced turnip.
I'm massaging some cabbage.
I'm trying to make juicy, the cabbage.
Getting our hands in there.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see the food transforming though and the flavours coming through.
A very basic first ferment that I tend to go through is sauerkraut, very easy to do for people in their own kitchens. But away from that, a range of different vegetable ferments using the wild fermentation technique. So we might look at kimchi, sour reuben, drinks such as water kefir, rejuvelac, sweet potato fly, ginger beer, other ferments such as raw fermented nut cheese, sourdough bread, sourdough pancakes, and obviously that kind of the list of things that we do in exploring workshops increases and expands as my own practice does in my own kitchen too. I mean, I hope that people leave the workshop and then start fermenting in their own kitchens as a kind of form of activism on the margins, really, about reclaiming time enough for themselves to get in touch with a really ace form of food preparation, but also the knowledge that surrounds this form of food preparation as well. But away from that, just as long as people are making, even if they only make a couple of new decisions around not just food but around their own health as well, then my job has been done really.
I like all the health benefits that we discussed and the topics in relation to Western health and understanding nutrition as a kind of driving force for looking after ourselves too. It's really interesting.
Just confidence in doing this myself, because I mean I have already tried making sauerkraut, but I wasn't sure if I was doing it right. I was worried about the wrong kinds of microbes getting in, and I just feel like, you know, now that I've sort of seen how he does it, it's like pretty much the same, but you know, maybe a few little tips that I didn't know, and I'll just experiment. Maybe feel a bit freer to experiment and not be like, oh fuck, I'm going to like kill somebody or something, you know.
So I do catering at Supper Clubs. I've been doing that for about 25 years. It's always good to work with new ingredients and concepts, or old ones as the case may be.
Very interactive, like really interesting. Very complex issues, but you've made it quite understandable and accessible, which is good.
And he's also quite a fun guy, you know. I think sometimes people who are involved in food and all aspects of it that he was talking about, like the environment and the politics, etc., can come across quite dry, yeah, and he was really fun, so it's quite refreshing actually.
A very holistic approach to fermentation, and then getting involved, getting to make something yourself with your own hands. Good fun.
It's good to kind of do things practically like this. I think I've got Ian Katz's book on fermentation, which I've read, which I think is really interesting, but sometimes you just need to come along and be shown how to do something.
I think what interests me is the biological processes involved and the different the different vitamins, as well as you know, what is actually the toxins that are taken out. I mean, having that kind of scientific understanding behind something you do at home is really great.
Yeah, it's really interesting, really great. Yeah, learned a lot more than I thought I was going to, because I thought maybe it was just sort of practical stuff, but he's gone a lot more into the background of fermentation. It's been really interesting.
And the further reading was really interesting. The kind of larger reasons as to why we are disconnected from our food, for me, were really, really interesting.
Fantastic. He's got really good knowledge, incredible knowledge, and I think he got that across very well. So yeah, great. Lots of detail. Lots of references for research as well.
It's just really inspired me to make lots of stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Really fun.
Well, I think I'll probably enjoy it in about 3 weeks when I'm eating this lovely sauerkraut. That'll be the best thing around for me.
I love inspiring people. You know, I love inspiring people around something so meaningful. Which is around, you know, fundamentally around health empowerment and around changing communities and the way people live their lives and relate to food. So I love running the workshops because it gives me a chance to share important lessons that I've learned around kind of nutrition and health. And just to see people come alive talking about the food economy, talking about politics, because I'm a bit of a political monster. So I love it when people get engaged with me on that level. So really, you know, these workshops kind of incorporate everything I'm fascinated and excited in, which is food, and secondly, politics. So yeah, I love it, and I just love meeting people on that level. It's fantastic. Octopus Alchemy is a number of things really. I'm not just a workshop facilitator, but I'm a body worker, and I also do some writing as well. So what I've tried to do with this concept is really bring together these different strands of my practice. So away from just kind of providing workshops around fermentation, I also try and write a little bit on politics and on food too. And I also work with bodies through Thai massage. So Octopus is about embracing that holism really. So if people can reach out to me and engage with me on any one of those levels that they might be interested in. You can find me at www.octopusalchemy.com. You can follow me at Twitter at Octopus Alchemy, or on Facebook, /octopusalchemy.com.